Just wanted to check Bryce Cotton. What's his situation? Has he arrived yet?
Yeah, Bryce will be suiting up for us in tomorrow night's playoff game against Southeast Melbourne.
Did he arrive today? Did he arrive last night? When was he in town in time for even a training session, or how delayed has his arrival been?
He's in Melbourne.
Are you able to provide any insight into how he is? Like, obviously, it's a personal reason. We don't expect that to be divulged, but is he okay?
Yeah, Bryce will be playing tomorrow, and I've got him logged in for 40 minutes.
What about Tayshaun Thomas? How's his body?
Yeah, look, he's progressing nicely. Still in that like day-to-day status as far as like, will he be 100%? Probably not. But should he manage to play some minutes and play a role? Absolutely.
So he obviously went off and then came back on and looked okay throughout the course of the game. Did he pull up pretty sore as a result of having to do what he had to do?
Yeah, more like soreness, stiffness. So we've been managing him. He's been getting medical treatment, and he's been progressing really nicely over the last couple of days. Hopefully, he will participate in some practice today. So that's very encouraging for me.
He's got a big job. They've got some big blokes. How vital is it that you can get him to as healthy as possible?
Yeah, look, for sure. It wouldn't matter who we're playing. He's an important cog in our wheel. So as close as 100% he can be is certainly going to help defending Alan Williams. But in saying that, he plays a huge part in the efficiency of our offense as well.
I would imagine a lot of your planning would have gone into blokes like Williams and Creek and their rebounding, given how damaging they've been against you this year. What's the biggest factor you have to be able to try to do to bring that back your way rather than the offensive dominance that they've had at different times against different teams?
Yeah, look, keeping them out of transition, getting matched up, providing some type of physicality, once they get in their half-court offense. It's funny that you mentioned Creek and Williams regarding the offensive glass, but Trey Kell, Brokov, Tarangi, they've all had their moments. So it's just not those two guys. It's easy to say those two guys because they're physical, they get after it, they're close to the basket, but you also have to be mindful of the other guys as well.
Can you take a lot out of the last game against them, given you were so poor against them and it was the only time you played against them with this unit that you've got at the moment? Everything else was earlier on in the year. How much of it you look at and go, we weren't us? And it's hard to know how it all panned out.
Yeah, look, it was disappointing with the way we performed against them last time, but the final score and everyone was a little emotional with the way they saw the game directly afterwards. But we're in the halfway through the third quarter, and we had 3 possessions in a row where we had a chance to take the lead. So, and then in the fourth quarter, we were still down, I think, 4 points. So the final score did not look good for the Perth Wildcats, but we had our moments and opportunity, and we had a quick turnaround regarding where we were with that game. But look, it's the playoffs. We're in a whole new ball game, and we get to redeem ourselves, win a game, and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, I'll jump in, Lockie. John, just in terms of the Perth Wildcats, from an outsider looking in, your best basketball is good enough to probably win the championship, having beaten Sydney and beaten New Zealand, and your worst basketball is down the bottom of the ladder. Have you worked out how you can at least get close to your best basketball after the weekend that was Jekyll and Hyde?
Yeah. Well, to hit your first part of the question, we come in as a 6th seed, so everyone's above us at this stage. So if we take some of that philosophy and theory out of it, we should be in good stead. But looking at it from, the way we want to play, what our last 3 losses, like Cairns, Southeast, and Tassie, we just didn't have the physicality or presence about ourselves defensively on the glass. where you reflect on the Sydney Kings game. We had a great purpose about what we were about in that game from the defensive standpoint. So, we've certainly been focusing on that and providing both visual and on-court practice to address that.
Do you, to Sean just struggling a touch and no guarantee to play massive minutes, do you have to then look to the bench that you probably haven't used? Hayes Brown got a bit of a taste of it in one of the games, and Majock hasn't played for quite some time.
Yeah. Look, what I've preached to everyone on this team is you will get an opportunity in any sport. No matter how big or small, you always get an opportunity. You ready to capitalize and seize that opportunity. And what a great opportunity within this playoff format to make the most of it. And for sure, like, someone is going to have to step up with this situation.
Just on Bryce and his game more in particular on the weekend.
Yeah.
He's such a great player. You can't underestimate that he'll turn it around. Are you confident that that was just one out of the box for him?
Yeah, look, I can't wait to see what he's got in store for Thursday night, because any professional with an ounce of pride is going to bounce back after, a below average performance in their own right.
John, Craig said that after the game that basically it's a warning to the rest of the NBL that you're in the playoffs. Do you take the underdog position, or do you believe that your team can win the championship from 6th?
I believe we can win it. We've shown throughout the season that we can compete against the elite teams. Are we the underdog? Absolutely, because we come in as the lowest seed. We haven't shown the consistency to be bantered around with the teams like the Kings to be championship contenders. So we have to go out there and prove it. But do we have the talent and do we have the ability to win it? Absolutely. There's four other teams wishing they were in our situation right now.
Do you ask the players to tap into that underdog mentality, or do you approach it differently? I mean, you've got to win 2 games to make a semi-final effectively, and then you're in a series. So how do you go about approaching that? It's a bit of it's a very new scenario.
We got to win 1 game. That's plain and simple. If we don't win 1 game, we're on holidays. So my whole approach to anything is, if we just go out there with the right mindset and play basketball the right way, we will be successful. Now, as a staff, we have to get our guys ready mentally and physically, and then also with some tactical points where we think we can do a better job than what we've previously done against Southeast. But our holistic approach does not change.
John, just wondering, do you feel like the team, being that underdog coming from the 6th seed, do you feel like other teams are sleeping on you a little bit, or do you feel like they still fear kind of the Wildcats and what you guys can bring in, and teams, including Phoenix, don't really want to face you in the playoffs?
I think Perth Wildcats' body of work as a franchise, I don't think they're going to ever sneak up on anyone. I think it's more the scenario of teams wanting to sink the boot in when they feel like the team is down from what they, think they once were. So for us as professionals and we're prideful people, we need to come out and show that we're about the right stuff, and we have just as much opportunity as anyone else that's left in this to win the championship.
I guess just quickly on Bryce, and obviously the kind of quieter performance he had in the game against the Kings. How down on himself does he get? Do you have to say anything to Bryce, or being kind of the professional he is, he kind of knows that he had a down night and he kind of can bounce back himself? Did you have to kind of get around him a little bit and say it's a one-off, forget about it?
The way Bryce goes about his work is that's why the months of May, June, July are very important, is when you do have a down performance, statistically, or not living up to someone's expectation besides your own, in the off season, that's where you build that confidence and the background, knowing that you have the ability to bounce back. So I don't need to address anything with Bryce, because I see him day to day and how he handles his craft. So, I know there's a lot of people going to be nervous because he had that type of performance against Sydney.
And I guess just quickly on the other side of that is Luke Travers had one of his best ever games, had such an impact. Do you think that can kind of boost Luke into having a potentially a big player front and a big game this week, given what he did in such a high stakes game last week?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I think that's his natural progression as a basketball player is he showed what level he is capable of playing at. Now it's the consistency, but until you've done that, you would have like some reservation as to whether you can do that. So he's done that. So let's keep moving. And what a great time to do it, and what a great platform as the playoffs are.
13, I think, years ago, some team came into Perth in an elimination final and some bloke shot 10 3-pointers and stole victory. Have you shown that YouTube video of those highlights to your team ahead of this game tomorrow?
Oh, they all better have that as their screensaver right now.
So that game, though, sums up that underdogs can come in and cause a bit of unrest, can't it?
Yeah, look, what I would say about that is it's easy for me to reflect 13 years ago, but I never went into that environment thinking we were the underdogs. When you have a good confidence about yourself, you go into that environment going, if I perform at a high level, I think our team will be successful. So yes, are we the 6th seed? Have we shown that we've been a sporadic team this year? Absolutely. But, our best can certainly lead us to, championship territory.
The Ted Lasso T-shirt was brilliant after the game. Was that just a gag, or is that actually the theme? Like, have you got a theme running around Ted Lasso and the Believe sort of element of it all?
Not a gag. It was actually a gift, a Christmas gift from my son. So certainly not a gag. Certainly something that I truly believe in, and as some of my decision making come under question or fire during the season, I certainly believe in our team, and I certainly believe about what I'm about. So it was more just reinforcing, my philosophy and mantra on life.
There's a lot of talk about whether this is finals, playoffs, or play-in, which is not finals. Can you, do you care? And two, what are your thoughts?
All I know is we can still win a championship.